The real secret to keeping someone hooked isn't love. It is the slow, calculated drip of jealousy. If you make them compete for your attention, they will be too distracted to notice that you are actually empty inside. I learned this early. I was maybe 19, dating this girl named Melissa. Sweet girl. Too sweet, honestly. She adored me, would have done anything for me. And for a while, that felt incredible. Like I mattered. But after a few months, I started to feel this creeping sense of boredom. She was predictable. She answered my texts immediately. She rearranged her schedule for me. She told me she loved me without me even having to work for it. And I realized something crucial. When someone gives you everything without making you earn it, they lose their value. So I started an experiment. Nothing dramatic at first. I just started mentioning this other girl from my philosophy class, Sarah. I would drop her name casually. Oh, Sarah said the funniest thing today. Or, Sarah and I grabbed coffee after class to go over the reading. Melissa would tense up. I could see it. Her shoulders would tighten. Her smile would get a little forced. And I felt this rush, this power. And that first taste of power, it changed everything. The first time I saw real fear in her eyes, I felt more alive than I had in months. We were at a party. I spent 20 minutes talking to Sarah in the kitchen, laughing at her jokes, touching her arm. Nothing inappropriate, just enough. When I finally walked back to Melissa, her face was pale. "Who was that?" she asked, trying to sound casual. And I shrugged. "Just Sarah. Why?" The way she swallowed, the way her hands trembled slightly as she reached for her drink, I can still remember that feeling. Like I had just won something important. Here is what most people do not understand. Jealousy is not a bug in the system. It is a feature. It is the most efficient tool for keeping someone emotionally invested while putting in minimal effort. Yourself. Because when someone is jealous, they stop asking questions like, "Why does he treat me this way?" Instead, they start asking, "How do I make him choose me over her?" They shift from evaluating you to competing for you. And once that shift happens, you have won. But winning this game requires a system, and I built mine carefully. First, you establish yourself as the prize. This happens during the golden phase. In the beginning, I am everything you ever wanted. I am attentive. I am affectionate. I mirror your interests. Do you like hiking? I love hiking. I make you feel seen. I make you believe that I am the one person in the world who truly understands you. But here is the trick. I am not doing this because I care about you. I am creating a version of you in my mind, a perfect snapshot of what I want you to be. In that snapshot, you are frozen in this moment of perfection, grateful, adoring, completely focused on me. And as long as you match that snapshot, everything is great. But the second you deviate, the second you have a bad day or you want to talk about your own problems instead of praising me, that is when everything changes. With Melissa, I remember the exact moment the snapshot cracked. We were at dinner, some Italian place she had been excited about. She started talking about her job, some conflict with her boss. She was upset, needed to vent. And I just sat there feeling this wave of irritation rising in my chest. Because in my perfect picture of her, she was supposed to be happy. She was supposed to make me feel good. So I interrupted her. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling. She stopped talking mid-sentence, and when I finally looked up, I said, "Sorry, Sarah just texted me. She is having a crisis. I might need to go help her." The look on Melissa's face. It was not anger, it was fear. Pure, unfiltered fear that she was losing me. And I felt alive again. I started pushing it further. I would take longer to text back, sometimes a full day. I would post photos with Sarah on social media. Nothing too obvious, just the two of us studying at a coffee shop. And Melissa became obsessed. She started dressing differently. She started asking me constantly if I thought she was pretty, if I still loved her. She started checking my phone when I was in the shower. And instead of being annoyed, I felt validated. Think about a slot machine. You pull the lever over and over, losing most of the time. But every once in a while, you win. And that rare win makes you forget about all the losses. That is what I did with Melissa. I gave her just enough attention to keep her hooked. but I made her work for it. And the more she competed, the more she invested. And the more she invested, the harder it became for her to walk away. I perfected the formula. I would go days without calling her. Then, just when I could feel her starting to pull away, I would show up at her door with flowers. I would tell her she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. And she would melt. She would forgive everything, because that moment of validation was so powerful, it erased all the doubt. But here is the thing I could never admit to anyone. I was not doing it because I loved her. I was doing it because I needed her to stay. Because without her constant attention, I had to face something I could not stand to face: the emptiness. And facing that emptiness terrified me more than losing her ever could. So I kept the jealousy going. I started talking about my ex, how she was still obsessed with me, how she kept texting me, begging me to take her back. I would show Melissa the texts, acting annoyed, but secretly, I loved that Melissa saw them, because it reinforced the narrative. I am so desirable that women cannot let me go. And then there was Sarah. Sweet, oblivious Sarah, who had no idea she was being used as a pawn. I never actually wanted Sarah. She was just a prop. Every time Melissa got too comfortable, I would mention Sarah, just enough to make Melissa spiral. Here is what I love about jealousy. It makes you blind. When you are jealous, you stop seeing the person I actually am. You stop noticing that I never ask about your day unless I need something. Because you are too busy trying to win a competition that does not even exist. And the more blind you become, the more control I have. I remember one night, Melissa and I were at a party. I spent the entire night talking to other women. Not because I was interested in them, but because I wanted Melissa to watch. I wanted her to feel that knot in her stomach tighten with every laugh I shared with someone else. And when we got home, she broke down. She cried. She asked me why I did not pay attention to her all night. And instead of apologizing, I turned it around. Maybe if you were not so insecure, I would not feel suffocated, I said. I cannot even talk to another woman without you acting like I am betraying you. Your jealousy is exhausting, Melissa. And you know what she did? She apologized. She apologized to me for being upset that I ignored her all night. Because that is what jealousy does when you weaponize it correctly. It makes people doubt their own reality. I took it even further. I would flirt with her friends. I would leave my phone unlocked with texts from other women visible. I would talk about how attractive my coworkers were, and every single time, Melissa would react. She would demand to know if I was involved with someone else, and I would act wounded. How dare you accuse me of that, I would say, after everything I have done for you, and this is how you repay me? And she would crumble every single time. The beautiful part? Eventually, I did not even have to do anything anymore. The thing about jealousy is that it becomes self-sustaining. Melissa started seeing threats everywhere. If I talked to a female cashier, she would accuse me of flirting. If I mentioned a female coworker, she would spend hours trying to find her social media. If I was late coming home, she would convince herself I was with someone else. She was creating jealousy herself. She was torturing herself with scenarios I never even planted. And all I had to do was sit back and watch. But I still threw gasoline on the fire occasionally. I would cancel plans at the last minute, claiming I had to help a friend, then refuse to say which friend. One time, I went completely silent for 3 days. No calls, no texts, nothing. I knew she was losing her mind. And when I finally contacted her, I acted like nothing was wrong. "What are you talking about?" I said when she confronted me. "I told you I was going on a camping trip with the guys. Did you seriously forget?" She had not forgotten. I had never told her. But that is when you know the game is working perfectly. By that point, she was so turned around, so unsure of her own memory, that she started to doubt herself. "Maybe I did forget," she said quietly. "I am sorry. Maybe I am not remembering things right." That is the power of combining jealousy with making someone question their own sanity. It makes you doubt everything you know to be true. You might be wondering, why? Why go through all this effort? Here is the truth. because it is never enough. No amount of love, no amount of admiration can fill the hole inside me, because the hole is about me. It is about the fact that deep down, I do not believe I am lovable, and so I need constant proof. I need you to fight for me, to sacrifice your dignity for me. But here is the cruel twist. It never works. Because even when Melissa was at her most devoted, I felt nothing, just emptiness. And then resentment. Because how dare she make me see myself so clearly? So I would punish her for it. I would withhold affection for days. I would give her the silent treatment. I would make plans with other women and accidentally let her find out. Because if she was hurting, then at least I was not alone in my pain. I want to tell you about the end, about the moment it all fell apart. We were at her apartment. She had cooked dinner. She had lit candles. She had put on a dress I once said I liked. She was trying so hard to make things perfect, and I could not stand it. Because her effort reminded me of how little I was giving, and I hated her for making me feel guilty, so I picked a fight. She had mentioned that she felt like I was distant lately, and I exploded. "You are so needy," I said. "You are always complaining. Nothing is ever good enough for you. Maybe if you spent less time obsessing over me and more time fixing yourself, we would not have these problems. Maybe the issue is not me, Melissa. Maybe it is you." She just stared at me, and for the first time, I saw something different in her eyes. Not fear, not desperation. I saw clarity. "You are right," she said quietly. "Nothing is ever good enough for you, because the problem is not me. It has never been me. It is you, and I am done." And she walked out. Just like that, she packed a bag and left, and for the first time, I felt what real panic tastes like. I felt panic flooding my chest because I had pushed too far, because I had lost control of the game, because for the first time, someone had walked away from me. I called her 47 times that night. I texted her hundreds of messages. I showed up at her work with flowers. I promised I would change. I told her I loved her, really loved her. I said all the things I knew she had been desperate to hear. But she was done. She had finally realized that no amount of competing would ever be enough. Because the problem was not her worthiness, it was my emptiness. So here I am now, alone, scrolling through dating apps at 2 in the morning, looking for the next target. Because I cannot sit with the emptiness. So I will find someone new. Someone who does not know my patterns yet. I will love bomb her. I will create that golden phase. And then, slowly, I will introduce the jealousy. Because that is what I do. That is who I am. A hollow shell playing a game I can never win. Using jealousy like a substance, getting high on the power. But the high never lasts. And every time, I end up right back here, alone, empty. And the worst part? I know it is wrong. I know I am hurting people, but I cannot stop. Because stopping would mean facing the truth about myself, that I am not special, that underneath all the manipulation, I am just scared and small and desperately alone. But here is the twist. Here is what he will never tell you. He thinks he won. He thinks he can keep you spinning forever in his orbit of manufactured jealousy. But there is one thing that terrifies a narcissist more than anything else: indifference. Not anger, not jealousy, not hatred. Because all of those emotions mean he still matters to you. They mean he is still in your head, still getting what he needs. But indifference? Indifference means he has become irrelevant. And when you stop playing, he has no power. Let me be clear about what just happened. That was not love. That was a systematic campaign of psychological manipulation designed to keep you emotionally dependent while preventing you from seeing the truth. He is empty, and he is using you to fill a void that cannot be filled. The jealousy tactic works because it hijacks your brain's reward system. When he gives you rare moments of affection after long periods of coldness, your brain releases dopamine. That chemical high makes you forget about the 100 times he made you feel worthless. Your brain starts to associate him with survival-level needs. This is not your fault. This is neuroscience. He is exploiting human bonding to create a trauma bond. You are not staying because you are weak. You are staying because your brain has been conditioned to associate him with both pain and pleasure. And that combination is more addictive than almost anything else. But here is the fatal weakness. It only works if you keep playing. The moment you stop competing, the moment you stop reacting, the entire structure collapses. So here is what you do. Here is how you take your life back. First, accept the hard truth. He will not change. Not because of your love, not because of your patience. His personality is rigid. His need for validation is insatiable. He lacks the insight to see his behavior as the problem. Abandon the rescue fantasy. You cannot fix him. You cannot be perfect enough to make him stop using jealousy as a weapon. Because the jealousy was never about you. It was always about his internal emptiness. Second, you become a gray rock. You make yourself as boring and unreactive as a gray rock. When he tries to make you jealous, you respond with flat acknowledgement. Okay, I see. No arguments, no tears, no begging, no visible emotional reaction. Why does this work? Because you are cutting off his supply. He is doing it because your emotional reactions, your pain, your fear, are the fuel that keeps his false sense of self inflated. When you stop giving him that fuel, he either escalates or moves on. Let him escalate. Do not break. Every time you remain calm, you prove his opinion does not define your worth. You reclaim your power piece by piece. Third, you put him on an information diet. Stop giving him ammunition. Stop sharing your intimate thoughts, your vulnerabilities, your fears. He has been collecting information about what hurts you, and then he weaponizes it. Stop seeking his validation. Keep conversations limited to surface topics, weather, traffic, logistics. Never reveal what you care about, because the moment he knows what you value, he will use jealousy to threaten it. Fourth, refuse to engage with his provocations. When he tries to bait you, do not take the bait. Do not defend yourself. Do not engage. Do not explain. Do not personalize. He wants you to argue. He wants you to prove your loyalty by debasing yourself. Do not give him that satisfaction. Instead, use this phrase: "We are having different experiences," and then walk away. Do not try to convince him of your reality. Because in his world, evidence does not matter. Only his narrative matters. Fifth, document everything. His specialty is making you doubt your sanity. He will tell you things never happened. He will claim you are too sensitive. He will rewrite history in real time. Fight back by keeping a journal. Write down what he says and does with dates and times. Save screenshots of text messages. When you start to doubt yourself, go back and read your journal. Let your past self remind your present self of the truth. Let the evidence anchor you when he is trying to pull you into his distorted version of events. Sixth, rebuild your external world. He has been isolating you. The more isolated you are, the more dependent you become on him. Reconnect with friends and family. Join groups. Build a support network that exists entirely outside of his influence. Because when you have other people reflecting your worth back to you, his opinion starts to matter less. And be honest with at least one trusted person. Not for revenge, but because secrets keep you sick. The moment you say out loud, "He uses jealousy to control me," you break the spell. Seventh, and most importantly, plan your exit if you are still in this relationship. You need an exit plan, because this will not get better. The jealousy will not stop. He will continue to erode your sense of self until there is nothing left. Open a separate bank account he does not know about. Squirrel away money. Make copies of important documents. Identify a safe place to go. Talk to a lawyer. Talk to a therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse. Build your escape route quietly and carefully. And when you are ready, you leave. No long explanations, no final confrontation, because he will not hear you. He will twist your words. He will make himself the victim. You just go. And then you go completely no contact. Block him on every platform. Change your number if you have to. Do not respond to his attempts to hoover you back in. The texts claiming he has changed, the flowers, the love bombing. Because it is a trap. It is always a trap. Here is what he is terrified you will realize. You do not need him. You never did. He needs you to regulate his shame, to inflate his ego, to distract him from his emptiness. But you are whole without him. The jealousy was never about your inadequacy. It was always about him. He made you compete for scraps because he could not bear to give you consistent love. Because consistent love requires a stable sense of self, requires genuinely caring about another person, requires empathy and reciprocity. And he does not have those things. He has a mask. He has a performance. He has a desperate need to feel important. But he does not have the capacity for real love. So stop competing. Stop trying to win a game that was rigged from the start. Walk away from the table. Take your dignity, your sanity, your beautiful life, and go build something real with people who do not need to manufacture jealousy to feel powerful. You deserve better than a man who can only feel alive by making you feel small. You deserve someone who chooses you clearly, consistently, without games. Someone who does not need you to be jealous to prove your love. Someone who sees your worth without you having to fight for it. And that person is out there. I promise you they are out there. But you will never find them while you are still wasting your energy on someone who sees you as a supply source rather than a human being. Listen, I know how hard this is. I know you have invested so much, time, energy, love, hope, pieces of yourself. I know you keep thinking that if you just try harder, maybe he will finally see you. Maybe the man from those first few golden weeks will come back. But he will not. That man was never real. That man was a performance designed to hook you. And you cannot fix that. You cannot love that away. The only thing you can do is protect yourself. Save yourself. Choose yourself. So please, if you recognize your relationship in this story, hear me. You are not crazy. You are not too sensitive. What you are experiencing is real. It is calculated, and it is designed to keep you trapped. But you do not have to stay trapped. You can leave. You can heal. You can rebuild. And one day, you will look back on this time and barely recognize the person you were, because you will have remembered who you actually are underneath all the doubt and fear. You will have come home to yourself. And that homecoming, that freedom, that peace, it is worth every difficult step. You are worth it. You have always been worth it. And the moment you walk away, the moment you become truly indifferent, you win. Not because you defeated him, but because you freed yourself. So take that first step today. Reach out to that friend. Open that bank account. Start that journal. Make that therapy appointment. Whatever the first small step is, take it today, and then take another one tomorrow. You deserve a love that does not make you anxious every single day. You deserve a partner who does not keep you guessing. You deserve a relationship where you feel safe and seen and valued, not just when he decides to throw you a crumb. That life is waiting for you, but you have to be brave enough to reach for it, and I believe you are. I believe you have more strength than you know, because you are still here. You are still fighting. You are still searching for answers, and that means some part of you knows you deserve better. Listen to that voice. Trust that voice. Follow that voice out of the darkness and back into the light. Your future self is waiting for you there, whole and free and finally at peace. Go find her. She has been waiting for you to come home. If this video helped you see the truth about jealousy manipulation, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. What was the moment you realized you were caught in the jealousy trap? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to find the courage to leave. You are not alone, and you are stronger than you know. I will see you in the next one. Now go reclaim your life.